Well, Patrick, that was a game, and usually I have a lot of confidence in myself when it comes to talking about really anything Broncos related. But I think today I'm going to need some help. This is altitude adjustment.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up.
So obviously, Bo Nix in the offense, Patrick, benefited from what can only be explained as a Mario star there in the fourth quarter. And I don't know about you, man, but I am getting really sick and tired of this offense only being competent in the fourth quarter. Not good, not great, not serviceable, competent. Because Pat, the first three quarters in Philadelphia, incompetence. You could argue that the last three quarters in London against the Jets, incompetence. And the first three quarters against the Giants, obviously, incompetence. So it's fantastic that they are somehow at 5-2. They are an egregious leverage penalty away from 6-1. Slash a Will Lutz missed field goal. But we already covered that. Listen. They are sitting at 5-2, Pat. We're not going to rehash the past. Okay. This is easily a team that could be 2-5, but they're not. They are at 5-2. We said that they need to have 7 wins, be 7-3 by the time they play the Chiefs next month. And step 1 is complete. But Pat, they can't keep waiting until the fourth quarter to turn it on against good teams. It's going to catch up with them eventually. And I think the most frustrating thing to me is we see what they can be. We saw what the offense did in the fourth quarter against Philadelphia, the same we saw what they did in the fourth quarter against the Giants. Clearly not sustainable. So where do we go from here? It feels great to be 5-2. But how do you feel about this team going forward? Because the schedule is about to get a lot more difficult.
How do I feel about this team going forward? I feel stressed. I feel anxious. I feel like they need to stop being so inconsistent out of the gate. You cannot play football from behind in the fourth quarter for a whole season. That is just it's not going to win you a ton of games. You're going to win a few here and there, but it's going to take literally everything you have. You're talking about wanting to go into the playoffs. You're talking about wanting to go into a Super Bowl. That is not sustainable.
That's been the theme of our show, right, Pat? It's be pleased, but we're holding them to a higher standard because of where our expectations are.
Yeah, and to me, my hat is just crooked. To me, this is a team that is not so much getting lucky, but it's things fall your way often. Things are you are getting blessed by the football gods, because there's no reason that they should have even had an opportunity to win this game on Sunday, and yet somehow they did. I think
maybe the Giants throwing a pass on third down, and it gets it. Here's the thing, Pat. You run the ball let's say he gets sacked on that play. Let's say that Scatabo doesn't actually trip Singleton because he did on that play, and it was technically a missed call. And let's say he got sacked.
Hey, are you complaining?
That's a much.
Are you complaining? Are you complaining about officiating?
I'm just
wow.
I'm discussing you're talking about. Okay, settle down,
baby.
You are talking about the football gods, and despite the fact that the officials tried to give away the game with an egregious roughing the passer, and then several egregious no calls on a lot of holds on the Giants offensive line, and maybe the most egregious defensive PI that you will ever see. That was not thrown, mind you, by the official that was right 4 feet in front of the play, but rather the back judge who was on like in the end zone who did not have a good vantage point of it.
Yeah,
But I digress.
We'll talk
It's the
about that one.
football. It's that we will, and it's the football gods, Pat, that somehow buried themselves into Brian Dable's head and said, "Hey, let's throw a pass while we're up by God. What was it at that point? 11 at
Yeah.
that point, or was it 16 or whatever it was? No, it was 19 at that point. Fuck, I don't remember. Maybe it was 11. Regardless." The game is out of hand, really, at that juncture of the game, and the only thing that you can't do is turn the ball over. So what is it? You're an offensive coordinator, Pat. You're up by that much in the fourth quarter. You're running the ball 3 times, and you're punting it. And you're like, all right, well, if you want to score, you got to go to the length of the field. We're on the clock. And that was the football gods.
Yeah.
So you're right. Like there's so many things, and I'm going to let you talk about the DPI. Because those are the kind of things that are against the Broncos. And it was such a poorly officiated game. And this is becoming a thing, and we'll talk about that more. But like something has to be done about the officiating league-wide. It's an absolute joke how bad that it has gotten. Yeah. So it's like, even though they have all these things go against them, like the officiating from that game, things keep breaking their way.
Yeah. And I think I should preface this. I have had clearly, my Riley Moss tweet kind of popped off, and
rightfully so.
I think people are not fully understanding what I'm saying. A lot of people, especially Giants fans. Number one, my God, do you need some more salt? Because holy shit, I am well within my right to criticize officiating, despite my team winning the football game. I'm well within my right to criticize the level of officiating from this game, because on both sides, and I'll say that on both sides, it was fucking
consistently
terrible.
Bad.
This was just a poorly officiated game, and there's nothing wrong with me saying that. Now, I've had Giants fans call me a crybaby. I've had Giants fans call me a bitch. I've had Giants fans say that I'm complaining. I'm not complaining. I'm simply calling out that call in that moment after the game that they have called was horrendous. And I will explain why. Okay. Now let's get like, what has happened up until this point? We've had multiple missed calls on very blatant holds on both sides that were not called. We've had the right tackle for the Giants false starting goddamn near every time. He and Jawan Taylor were having a get-off contest, I guess. They called Pat Surtain for offsides when he wasn't offsides. Wasn't even close.
He timed it perfectly. Yeah, he timed it perfectly.
Just absolutely egregious. So all of these things lead up to this, right? Now, on this play, and I have the play up and we can talk about it, but on this play, I was just like, wow, okay, that's what we're going to call here, because it's another example, and this is a tale as old as time. This is another example of NFL officials bailing out underthrown balls and wide receivers who are not playing good football. And we'll talk about why.
And more on that, like as you're pulling this up, Pat, you and I had discussed this. It would be one thing because I think Lil Jordan Humphrey was the intended receiver. It would be one thing if he stopped, came back to the ball, and Riley Moss held him up. And this is something that we had discussed. It's like they have to find a way to stop rewarding underthrows, but it's such a subjective thing that I don't know where you can go from here. But the thing is, if Riley Moss doesn't find the ball, if Lil Jordan Humphrey comes back for the pass that was underthrown, really any of those scenarios I can see like, all right, I hate the fact that it's called in that situation, but if it's a penalty, it's a penalty, regardless of the situation. The fact that you call it at this juncture and there was absolutely nothing that was bad about what Riley Moss did, and you're gift wrapping them essentially a win, absolutely inexcusable.
Now this is the thing that I want fans to understand. This is football, no? This is the NFL. This is grown men playing
the highest level that there is.
Right. So we can be physical. And I'll let this roll from here. So right here, Dart, looks like they were just trying to get to the sticks. Humphrey is stopped right here, and they turn around. Okay. Now he's out of the pocket. This is a scramble drill. So this guy's most outside. He has to go deep. This guy's going to work toward the sideline. This guy's going to climb up here and go towards the sideline. This guy is back turned. He doesn't know what's going on yet. So he's just going deep. Okay. Now, Riley Moss is in what we call trail technique. Okay. This is trail technique. He is man covered. Okay. Now, I had a lot of people in my mentions saying, "Well, Riley, why isn't Riley Moss looking back towards the ball? Why did he just let the guy go?" This is trail technique. This is what we're supposed to do. What Riley Moss is doing right here, you can't see it from this angle, but what he is doing is he is catching up so they can get stride for stride with the receiver. He is looking
Pat, really quick, do you think maybe it's easier for him to run full speed if his head is forward looking where he's running as opposed to his body turned? Perhaps. It's a physics thing.
Perhaps. Now, Dart has thrown
technique. Go on.
Dart has thrown this ball. The ball is right here. Okay. Now, oh, well, would you look at that? It looks like the wide receiver has put his arm out to initiate contact. So at this juncture, ladies and gentlemen, Riley Moss has every right to initiate contact back. This is what we call hand fighting. This is called hand fighting. The receiver has put his arm out in an attempt to stop himself or stop the DB. Right there. Boom. Right there. The DPI thrown out the window. Receiver is initiating contact. DB also has the right to initiate contact. Bang, bang. No call. Okay. Now, ball is still in the air somewhere around here. But we'll see from the other angle. It's not where you think it's going. Okay. At this point, Riley Moss has his head turned. The receiver is going up. Riley Moss's hand is on the arm of the receiver. But remember, ladies and gentlemen, the receiver initiates contact. That's not on Riley Moss. Riley Moss turns his head. Ball hits him in the side. It was underthrown. All good, all good, all good. Oh, but then he throws the flag.
And look, and focus on this official right here, right in front of the play.
This guy,
who, if I'm not mistaken, Pat, signals incomplete.
He is signaling incomplete.
You have an official who's in the end zone, as previously mentioned, does not have a good vantage point of this play, cannot see where the ball lands, as well as the guy that's right in front of it, cannot see what Riley Moss is doing, and yet feels the need to throw a flag from,
from
30 yards away from this play.
It was the guy who was in the end zone. So yes. Here's the end zone view. Okay. Now we're talking about missed calls and stuff. Boy, howdy, that sure looks like it's outside of the frame. That sure looks like it's outside of the frame. That sure looks like he's getting pulled back. No call. Okay. Now here's the other view.
Tillman get held on at like the beginning of that snap as well. Oh, that was you're right.
So now here's where the ball is, right here. Okay. Here is Riley Moss. Boy, you can just see it so much clearer from this side. Look at that. That is a white sleeve, ladies and gentlemen. That is the receiver initiating contact. That is no call. Riley's head is turned. Now look at where this ball is landing. Hits Riley Moss in the side of the body. This was inside. It was right here. The receiver jumped and took himself out of the play. If he stops and comes back inside to attack the ball, this is probably a catch and a touchdown. Instead, they called DPI. I do not agree with this call simply because the wide receiver initiates contact with the arm. Riley Moss then has the opportunity to also initiate contact. That is hand fighting. That is perfectly legal. We have seen way worse be no called. Okay. Riley Moss has his head turned. As soon as he sees the receiver's head is turning, and you're trained, we coach to look for the eyes. You can see it. The eyes light up. You turn your head. You make a play on the ball. That's what he does here. Yes, there is contact, but the receiver has initiated contact. This is a no call, in my opinion. This was just the icing on the cake of a bad day. And then, I mean, my goodness, Riley Moss could have had a play on the ball.
Right there. Did you see that, Pat? Right at the very end, the official 5 feet from the play signals incomplete. And really quick before you roll this, I want to point this out because I was talking to a buddy of mine who said, and I'm going to get your thoughts on it. Was Sean Payton playing 3D chess, knowing that they're going to get the ball at the 2-yard line, low-key wanting the Giants to score in that situation, gets the penalty? So it's a 1-yard penalty on Sean Payton for running out onto the field. And they're like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. You think maybe he knows that, Pat? You think maybe he preferred that the Giants take a snap from the 2 to the 1 just to ensure that they score? Because if Jackson Dart is called short, and they, you know, and the I know they looked at it and he was in, but if he's short, the Giants aren't taking a timeout there. They're letting the clock run. They have another play to run, probably another running play. They have a timeout to use.
Yeah.
And if Jackson Dart is short on that play, and had they gone from the 2-yard line, he would have been. The Broncos don't win that game.
I thought it was genius by Sean, to be honest. And people can
Absolutely genius.
People can say whatever they want, but like
I criticize his play calling and his substitution packages and whatever. But to me, this was low key a very high IQ decision by Sean.
I almost included something like that in my tweet that I put out, you know, about the call, because, and again, this was the game that they had called up to this point, all leading up to that DPI penalty. Sean has to be irritated. You miss a holding call on Hufanga in the end zone, and then you call DPI on the Broncos defense, but you're going to ignore the hold that occurred in the end zone. That's a safety. That's 2 points, right? I'm as a coach, I'm pissed about that. This game is close. This game is extremely close. And then you call that penalty. Yeah, I'm sprinting down there and I'm telling him, hey, you guys are doing a shit job. Get your heads out of your asses. And we'll talk about Greenlaw after that. But this was the play that we were talking about before. This was the play before the DPI. Now, solid blocking here. Not bad. Not bad. Oh.
That's turning into a little bit of a tug here, Pat.
Would you just look at it? Would you just?
It's not allowed.
And I
no,
saw
Pat,
someone,
that's not allowed.
I saw someone say,
"Can't do that."
Broncos fans clearly don't know what the free blocking zone is. The free blocking zone refers to blocks below the waist or blocks in the back within the tackle box and 4 yards outside. It does not give offensive linemen free reign to hold.
That's an insane comment to make to justify
that guy never responded back.
An egregious hold.
He never responded back to it. Never responded back to it. I don't think they understand that football coach. I coach this game. I understand what is a hold and what is not a hold. That is a hold. That was a hold. And you know it's a hold because look at what the lineman does.
Well, no, not me.
Not me.
Not me.
Now, boy, it sure looks like that hold prevented DeAndre Tillman from getting to the quarterback and applying pressure. That should have been called. Now, it ends up in an incompletion, whatever, but still, nonetheless.
But Pat,
like,
that's what we're talking about. 10 yards. It's an additional 10 yards that they would have to go.
This is what we're talking about. It's plays like this that led up to Sean Payton just ripping these refs a new one on the field, because you're deciding when and when not to abide by the rules. It's not like my favorite one is, I didn't see it. Like, Mr. Official, there's 5 of you on the field. You're designated to look at this one thing, and you're telling me that you didn't see it? Buddy, he's looking right at it. Like, the white hat is staring directly at it. You're going to tell me that you didn't see it?
And the white hat is Brad Allen.
Yes.
The referee for this game, correct? And I want to bring up Sarah Bettinger had a great tweet. Yep. Brad Allen and his crew gave the Giants 7 first downs via penalties. 7. Called an egregious pass interference that nearly cost the Broncos the game, which we just discussed. Wrongly called PS2 offsides, which we discussed. Consistently ignored Illuminor's false starts, which we discussed, shoved Justin Strnad, and we'll talk about this, okay? We're going to get into this, and got Dre Greenlaw suspended for a game, assuming that the suspension holds up. Here's what I want to address, Pat, because we have to talk about the Dre Greenlaw situation, and I'm going to preface it with this. Dre Greenlaw should not have acted that way. I'm sure that he will tell you that. I'm sure that he knows, and clearly he said some really out-of-pocket shit that he shouldn't have said that is going to get him potentially suspended and fined. He shouldn't have done it. That being said, Pat, if we look back, or are we showing the blatant hold?
I was just showing this because this should have been a safety, and we just decided, that's not a hold. Come on, yeah. Now,
so on that, like during that, like, as those events transpired, and if you want to see still shots, I put them on Twitter at the Tansy Therapy. But I want to preface this and be like, what Brad Allen did was not like out of hate or out of spite. I'm not going to be one of these fans that says that, because that's silly. Like he's a tiny little man who, is for all intents and purposes putting his hands on a much larger, much stronger human being. I get that he's trying to protect himself. I do. But the difference in that, and again, it's not like it's an egregious thing. The bottom line is what he did, Pat, you are not supposed to do to a player. If you want to defend yourself and put your hands up, making sure that they're not crashing into you, that's completely separate. What we saw from Brad Allen that probably ignited Dre Greenlaw, who was already upset. You go back and look at the video, Greenlaw was already chirping at Brad Allen, and honestly, rightfully so. And I would assume that those actions that Dre Greenlaw clearly saw, Justin Strnad, you can see in the stills, like Strnad looks back in disbelief that Brad Allen put his hands on him. And again, it's not like he came up and shoved him like this. This was not an egregious thing. And I don't think Brad Allen was trying to necessarily do anything malicious. Okay. So I just want to preface that. But again, what he did, you are not allowed to do.
Yeah.
He put his hands out, and you could see in the stills his arms were extended as he was pushing Strnad away. One thing to protect yourself, another thing to extend your arms and shove a guy. And it was enough to elicit a reaction out of Justin Strnad, whose teammates were celebrating all around him. Strnad is here looking at Allen like this, complete disbelief at what just transpired. Again, Greenlaw was already fired up. Clearly, he saw that because he was right behind it and noticed it, probably saw Strnad's reaction, and then all hell broke loose. Again, this does not justify Dre Greenlaw's behavior. Dre Greenlaw has been in the league for way too long to succumb to something like this. He needed Q Robinson, a rookie, to basically pull him back. And then last part, can we just talk about like how hilarious it is that Brad Allen throws a flag as the game is over and points at Dre Greenlaw. Now I'm very interested to see what transpires next. Greenlaw is contesting it.
Yeah.
And I think the league needs to do the right thing, because they're in a little bit of hot water with this, with Allen's crew. And the good thing, Pat, is like after something like this, they are not going to have Brad Allen and his crew officiate another Broncos game. Because this is like weirdly become personal. And I think there's going to be too much of a bias there from Brad Allen and what happened with Dre Greenlaw. They need to do the right thing. Like, find him out the ass. You should. Yeah. He can't run after the official like that, screaming at him. We have no idea what he said. We might never know. And I don't know if it's going to be a his word against his, where Brad Allen says, well, he said this. And Dre Greenlaw says, nope, I didn't. I said this. And if another, like if the witness is another official, that's going to be shady stuff too. So hopefully we get the whole story, and
I think there's
Again,
gotta
hopefully they
be
do the right thing. But
there's
Brad
gotta be
Allen
a
has
hot
to
mic.
face some sort of consequences for this.
There's gotta be a hot mic or something. Like there had to be some like they wear shit all the time and there's microphones
Well,
all
Pat,
around the
unless
stadium.
it's a situation like when cops turn off their body cam and they
Oh,
claim that it wasn't working. I mean, we could certainly see something like
oh,
that.
Mr.
Where
Allen.
it's like, oh, well, the mic got somehow
Oh,
turned off,
oh,
so you can't hear what he's saying.
oh, I turned it off after Sean Payton came sprinting down the field and screaming at me because he called my mother a beep. No, I think look,
Well, she probably is
here's
to raise someone like that.
here's my take on it. I like look, I just had to deal with something like this in high school football in this last week. Had an official who had refereed one of our JV games, a few weeks prior, was rude to our players for some reason, was called
Who are
two of
kids?
our
They're
children.
kids. Children.
Called two of our children a racial slur. I mean, he himself is a black man, but
Still not
it's
great.
still not okay.
Not a good
These
look.
are children. Ejected two of our coaches out of the game because they were trying to protect they were telling the referees that they weren't protecting our players. And so apparently the referees took that the wrong way. And it was a whole thing. But we had that official on our sideline this last week. And there were a few times during the game where there were blatant things happening and he was not calling them. Multiple times the opposing team jumped off sides. I'm literally standing behind him so I can watch it. He would put his hand on his flag and then take it off. And I would say, really, you're not gonna throw that? And he looked back at me and said, no, I'm not. I'd say, okay.
But he wanted you to know that he thought about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all on film. It's already submitted. But my point is, you're going to deal with officials like this throughout the game. And I really hate when officials try to make the game about them in a certain way. Like you're very clearly not. You haven't been calling very obvious fouls and penalties on both sides, regardless of who the team is. You're like no calling very obvious things. You're being very ticky-tack with other things that you're letting the other team get away with. So it's like you're showing favoritism. You're making this about you. And in that moment after the game, I understand there's a lot of people. It's a big celebration. You pushed a player. Whether you were protecting yourself or not, you shoved a player in the chest.
Correct.
You shoved him to the point where he looked at you like, hey, man, what's your problem? That was what I got from watching Justin Sternad on that play. He looks at the ref like, dude, what's your issue?
Complete
and I'm pretty
disbelief.
sure that's what he said. He said something before Greenlaw went after him. And I think Greenlaw was going after him to protect his teammate and say, hey, man, you can't do that. That's unbelievable. That's extremely unprofessional.
Especially after the game. Especially after the game they just had.
After what you just did. Now, look, Brad Allen bet the Giants money line. Okay. I can't prove it.
But we know.
But I just know that he bet the money line and he was mad about it. And for you to do that and then just run off, like you didn't do anything, run off. Sternad's looking at you like, come on, man. And then he turns away. But Greenlaw is standing up for his teammate in that moment. And you know what? I'm not going to fault Dre Greenlaw for that. So I'm just going to say it. I'm going to be the one person like, yeah, I've seen everybody, and you said it too. Like, yeah, he shouldn't go out. No, he should go after the referee like that because we need to start holding these motherfuckers accountable. Okay.
Fair.
We need to start holding them accountable. If you're going to act like that, if you're going to act like a child after the game that you just called, you deserve to be screamed at. Oh no, he said some bad words to you. Don't be Nate Tice now. Don't be Nate Tice. Don't get all in a bunch because somebody's yelled an expletive at you. I love Nate. Just he was a little soft in that moment. But like don't be soft in that situation where you're pushing a guy. You know what you did. Just apologize. That's it. Like, hey man, didn't mean to shove you. Just just trying to get out of the way. That it would have been fine. It would have been no issue.
Yeah.
But instead, you start running away. You know this guy's yelling at you. Like, it's not like you can't hear him. You know this guy's yelling at you. He's running with you. You can stop and talk to him. You can be a human being. But instead, you choose to be an asshole. And then you choose to ignore him. And then you choose to throw a penalty because you didn't like something that he said. That, to me, is extremely soft. Hold yourself accountable for your
There's
actions.
no accountability.
And just apologize. That's
well,
it.
And Pat, he wants to be the victim, right?
Yeah.
He wants everybody to look at this situation and be
I
like,
want him.
big bad. Look at what big bad Dre Greenlaw did to me. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if he came out and posted an AI video of himself dropping poop onto Dre Greenlaw and Justin Strnad. Speaking of dropping poop, Patrick, I think it's about time for everybody's favorite news segment in all of Broncos. And let me preface this. We're a little bit scrunched for time. Okay. And I know you have a lot to say.
We're going to keep this
so
one quick.
You say what you need to say. Let's get to it. This is Wattenberg Watch. So as we know, every week we have given Coach Pat a platform from which to speak on Luke Wattenberg. And every week it feels like there is something different. Yeah. So Coach Pat, let's go ahead and pull some clips. I think, Coach, there was a very specific thing happening repeatedly that has been a problem really since he became the starting center. So despite PFF giving him this fantastic grade, you as an actual football mind who actually pays attention to play-by-play scenarios and actual assignments, what did you see from Luke Wattenberg on Sunday?
Let me just let me just.
Oh, here he is. Yep.
Okay, guys, it's
actually
Coach Pat now. All right. So we'll keep this short. The one thing that I saw that was very, very consistent from Luke Wattenberg this week was that he is inconsistent with his snaps, and it is going to continue. This is something that we have talked about since last year, to be honest. This is something that is going to have a lasting effect on the Broncos offense. And Mario, this was a play that you and I had talked about that really just grinded my gears, because after this play happened, Ari Myrov on Twitter decided to tweet this out and say, boy, Bo Nix's accuracy looks really off today. Really off.
And why did that upset you, Pat? Why don't you go ahead?
It upset me. It upset me because it upset me because you're not telling the full story here. Okay, so here we go. We're at the 15-yard line. We've got condensed formation here, 2x2 set. Broncos are going to send Troy Franklin in motion. Okay. So we're going into a 3x1. This looks to me like it's going to be run the whole way, right? They don't shift over. It's zone the whole way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Look where Bo Nix is catching this. Look where Bo Nix is catching this snap here, Pat.
Both feet are off the ground, Mario. Both feet are off the ground, Mario.
And pay attention to J.K. Dobbins here, because if this is a run, Dobbins is already in the process of coming out of his stance.
Now,
the timing has already been completely thrown off. This is a game of inches. This is a game of millimeters. It's a game of milliseconds. This wastes movement, wasted motion, wasted time, because our center cannot snap the ball 5 yards behind him into our 6'2" quarterback's chest.
I want to call out our.
If he's full extension, Pat, this ball right here has got to be what, almost 7 feet in the air.
Yeah, This is bad.
If Bo
This
Nix
is
is
really
that
bad.
full extension.
And off the ground, completely off the ground. I want to call out
In an offense that is so much about timing, that tries to hit these quick hitters, this is a killer. And I
Yeah.
want people to understand that. We're not showing this just to bully Luke Wattenberg. This is
No.
a very serious problem.
I want to call out at our Sandoval 300 on Twitter, who said that the center has zero to do with rhythm. Really? Is that right? Because every week at every level of football, we do this thing called mesh period, where the quarterbacks and the running backs work together on their timing from catching the snap and handing it off and then doing RPOs and all that bullshit. Okay. If you've played football, you know what mesh period is. Okay. This fucks up the mesh. Now, what's the mesh, Coach Pat? This is the mesh right here. Right here. This is the mesh. Okay. The quarterback has to be able to show, because guess what, Mario? This is an RPO. This is a good old run pass option here. And you know what? They've got numbers. They've got numbers. They have 2-on-1, essentially. Okay. Well, three.
That's a wonderful thing to have.
3-on-1 if we're counting the guy who's catching the ball. Okay. But what they're trying to do is they're trying to get this guy to bite on the run play. But if the snap is too high, oh, we can't sell the run play, Mario. Well, that's not going to work. So then what happens? Bo has to scramble. He's got not scramble, but he's got to scramble to get the ball out. And he can't get it off cleanly because now this defender knows, because he left. Oh, this isn't a run play. If this was a run play, I'd be getting scooped right now.
It's impossible for him to bite on the run fake.
He doesn't even fucking go for Dobbins. He doesn't even fucking go for him. So, while, yes, this could have been a great play. This would have been a perfect play if it was executed correctly. But where does it all start? It doesn't start with Bo Nix catching the ball. It doesn't start with Bo Nix doing the play fake and going through the mesh. It doesn't start with Bo Nix throwing the football. Mario,
where does it start?
It starts right here.
Sure does.
Right there.
And you're right. This is a fantastic design, Pat, because if he has an extra half second to put that ball, is that Ingram is leaking out here?
Ingram is right here.
Yeah, if he has an extra half second to put that ball on Ingram's chest, he has two blockers and he has a lot of room to run here, Pat.
And you don't really get to see the full effect until you're right here. And let's take a look at Bo. This ball, both feet off the ground. Both feet off the ground. My goodness. This is not good for the offense. This is nearly over his head. Thank God for Bo Nix, because this is going, it's Super Bowl again. Ball's going in the end zone.
And it's probably a touchdown with like the way that they scheme this up, and Burns is in there untouched.
Both feet off the ground. I am beside myself. You're going to tell me that doesn't fuck with the rhythm of the play? Are you dense? Are you ridiculous? Rhythm of the play
right here at this point where Bo has the ball in his chest, and look where Dobbins is. Dobbins is already past it.
Yeah.
If the ball is in his chest immediately, then Dobbins is a yard or two behind him, and you can sell the play fake. I mean, at this point, Bo doesn't even bother faking.
He
has no time.
Consistent theme throughout this game. The snaps were all over the place. The tempo of the snaps was off. The location of the snaps was off. If you don't believe me, feel free. I'll give you my login for NFL Pro. Okay. If any of you who listen to this show want to challenge me on this, I will give you my login. Feel free. Go watch the game. Go watch any of the games and just watch Luke Wattenberg snap the football and tell me what you find. Tell me, are they consistent from a game-to-game basis? Are they consistent on a drive-to-drive basis? How about down-to-down? They're not. And that is what fucks with the rhythm.
If you think that the center quarterback exchange has nothing to do with the rhythm of the play, then I apologize, but football is not the sport for you.
Learn a new game.
Go play badminton, okay?
Go play
Go
pickleball.
play pickleball. Everybody loves pickleball now. That's something more your speed.
Like, and then and this is the thing that pissed me off, Mario, is because this play gets blamed on who?
Bo
On Bo
Nix.
Nix. Oh, Bo Nix isn't accurate. Oh, Bo Nix.
Or Sean Payton gets the blame for play calling.
Like, do you understand how difficult it is to play quarterback in the NFL, even with a good center? Now, imagine playing quarterback in the NFL and having to worry about, geez, I don't know where the snap's going to be every single down. Having to look the ball into your hands consistently because you don't fucking know where it's going to be. That split second can ruin the whole rhythm of a play. And I've literally seen it happen at this level.
Which we just saw.
I've seen it happen at this level, and I see it happen at the high school level too many times to count. I literally tell my kids, when I see a bad snapper, when I see a center or a long snapper who snaps the ball too slow or snaps the ball too high, I attack it. And you think that that's not going to continue to happen? My goodness, it needs to be fixed. Like, at what point do we start saying, okay, I've seen enough, I'm done, like, we need to figure something else out? At what point?
What's the definition of insanity, Pat? Before we get out of here, give me a quick preview of the Broncos-Cowboys game. What do they need to do to go to 6-2?
Stop the run. Make Javonte Williams hurt. He's been doing so good.
We don't want the Javonte revenge game because
we don't need the Javonte revenge game.
He's
been doing great.
Year, Javonte. And I want to be mad.
I love it for him.
The last 2 years, but I love it. I love it for him. He was fantastic here.
I love it for him.
It's just a bummer. It's a bummer.
I think I think this game is going to be a little bit tougher as far as like the pass game goes. But you know what? It's going to be a strong game from the defense. You need everybody to be on their P's and Q's. Pat's going to be falling around CD, which leaves Riley Moss and George
Riley on Pickens. And Robbie had pointed out, Pat, like that's kind of his Achilles heel a little bit, like the big physical receivers, because Riley is physical and Riley gets grabby. Yeah. And Pickens is one of the best in the league in drawing those PIs. I think that's the matchup, and they have arguably the best producing tight end in the NFL right now in Jake Ferguson, who is absolutely on its hair. We saw on Sunday this defense had a difficult time with the tight ends. Daniel Ballinger scored his first touchdown since I think it was 2022. Not a pass catcher, as we saw. Like the following possession, he had another touchdown in his hands and dropped it. Theo Johnson did his thing. I know his touchdown was off of a tip pass, so you can't give him too much credit for that. But historically, Broncos not the best against tight ends, and I think those are a lot of the key matchups. But you're right; it starts with defending the run. And here's the thing, Pat: this Cowboys team, you're not going to be able to be down multiple scores in the fourth quarter and come back on this team. They're too explosive offensively. They have too many working parts on their offense right now, and like getting CD back is such a massive boost to this offense. I know Dak Prescott gets all of this crap, but Dak Prescott is a really damn good quarterback. And they can't come out flat. They're going to be in their throwback uniforms. They have not lost in them, 2-0 so far. They haven't lost to the Cowboys in 30 years. The Cowboys are not a good road team. They're much better at home. Everything in this matchup points to like you have to win this game. Because it's like historically, recently, the Broncos have had their way with the Cowboys. And the last two times that these teams played, the Cowboys were the better team and the Broncos thumped them. Now you're a little bit more evenly matched. I think on paper, Denver's maybe a little bit of a better team, but Dallas is a very good football team, especially being completely healthy. I think it benefits Bo Nix and the Broncos that they don't have to deal with Micah Parsons, and they're going to have to commit to the run, and we're going to need to see a big game out of J.K. Dobbins, and they're going to have to control that front line. But, Pat, this is a game that they need to have. Because then you go to Houston, and that's going to be a tough matchup. I know the Texans aren't as good as we anticipated. Really good defense, still a good team. You're on the road. You have the Raiders Thursday night after that. And then you have that very, very, very important Chiefs matchup. Pat, this almost needs to be a get-right game for the offense because this is going to be a shootout. The offense has got to get going early. They can't just sit around with their thumbs up their asses for 3 quarters.
Yeah. They cannot start slow. And like I talked about it on my show with Bree last week. Like you've got to start fast, and you can't let up. And they did not start fast in this game. It's just like there's something going on with whether it's blocking or whether it's like your sequencing or whatever it is. They're just not starting fast enough, and they've got to get going. Like I hated the opening script. I hated the opening script for this last game. Yeah. 3 straight passes against a team that's top 10 worst defenses in the NFL for rushing yards on the road. Like you have to come out and make a statement early, and that means running the football. It didn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but they battled back and they played really well down the stretch. And obviously that fourth quarter was miraculous. Like Mile High Magic is very much alive. And, can't help but think that DT had a little bit to do with it.
100% agree. And we'll leave you with this. It's great the Broncos are 5-2 once again. If you as a fan expect more and you want them to be a Super Bowl contender, they've got to clean stuff up. They're a very undisciplined team. They're wildly inconsistent. And Pat, at some point, we have to see this team put together at least 3 really good quarters of football in all facets of the game. Because if you don't, you will be relegated again to a wild card spot, maybe you back into the playoffs, and probably don't win a playoff game. If you want to just not only go to the playoffs, but potentially win your division, get a home playoff game or 2, you have to clean this up. I know that we gave the officials crap, and deservedly so. That's still too many penalties and too many yards, a lot of undisciplined stuff happening, and it can't happen this late into the season. And this is not sustainable. So hopefully, Pat, things they start to figure things out. They get into more of a rhythm, and they show that they are actually a true contender that don't need to rely on miracles in the fourth quarter of games. Anything else before I get you out of here, or before we get out of here?
Yeah, man, I'm really happy about how the team battled. I think that the defense is still playing at a really high level. Would love to see some more of those dropped interceptions turned into actual interceptions.
Like actual interceptions, yeah.
And I would love to see the offense start to play with a little more gusto. I don't feel like they're playing with a ton of oomph right now. And I feel like they need to get back there for sure. So it all starts with the center.
Yep,
so
it sure does. Coach Pat, you did a fantastic job breaking down that film. Let's ask Coach Sean Payton what he thought of what we did here today.
Gosh, your own little internet shows are driving me crazy.
Okay. It's not Mario Matanzi. That's Patrick Keough. This is Altitude Adjustment. We'll see y'all next week. Love you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up.